The reason why it's so difficult to actually find your interior design style is because you don't actually have one. Let me explain. So you took an interior design style quiz and your results, a vague 2 or 3 word phrase, not to mention your Pinterest boards, your house profile, and your Instagram are all speaking different languages. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jennalee Rogers, an interior designer. Pardon my half furnished house. As some of you guys know, I recently moved into my grandmother's house, and so I am still slowly piecing things together. I'm going to be talking about the common traps when it comes to the overall inspiration curation process. I'm also going to be talking about the word trap when it comes to actually trying to define your style by 1 or 2 words, why it actually makes it harder to figure out your design style. I'm going to actually show you guys my design secret, if you will, how you actually can figure out your design style. And 4, I'm actually going to show you guys a sample project to show you how to actually put this method to use. Let's talk about the common errors that people make when it comes to actually trying to figure out their interior design style. The first common error that a lot of people make is by taking an interior design quiz or test or whatever you want to call it. You pick whatever photos you resonate with, and then at the end it gives you a very vague 2 or 3 word statement on your supposed design style. But the thing is that these quizzes online aren't really designed for accuracy. They're more so designed for entertainment. I'm curious to know if any of you have taken an interior design style quiz and what were your results? Let me know in the comments. Another common error that you need to be aware of is when you're using platforms like Pinterest or Instagram, these are heavily algorithm-based platforms. So a lot of the times it will recommend things that you've already searched for in the past or that you've interacted with in the past. The other thing is with Pinterest, it's different from the others because it is search engine optimization focused, meaning whenever you type in something on Pinterest, Pinterest is going to feed you all of the images that contain those keywords. The biggest mishap I see from a lot of clients is using Pinterest as their design plan, rather than seeing it as the first small step to actually honing in on their design style. Now, all of these sources are a great way to pull a variety of ideas so that they're all in one place. But it's not your design plan. It's not going to tell you what you need to know in order to move on to the next step. The gap between inspiration and direction was one of my main inspirations for starting the House of Jenn interior collections. If you're someone who's struggling with how to move from inspiration to a completed design, head on over to my website to view the interior collections for more information on that. They make the entire design process from concept to completion so much easier. So you no longer have to scroll and spend hours trying to look for the right chair, the right sofa, or the right wallpaper. So often whenever you begin on your journey in finding your design style, we'll hear people say, start with a mood. Do you want to feel warm, inviting, cozy? The reality is that most people want their home to feel warm and inviting. Like, I've never heard of anybody say, yeah, I want my home to look like a hospital room. That's the issue with defining your style by just a word. It doesn't tell you how to actually move from point A to point B. Clients would tell me their supposed design style, and they'd say, oh, it's modern, it's coastal, it's eclectic. And then whenever I went to look at their actual inspirational photos that they sent me, their curated photos were telling a different story. And I too fell into this pit as well because I found myself inspired by so many different things. One minute I could have a love for a colonial style, and the next minute it could be a 70s revival, and then the next minute it could be English cottage. So I just started saying that my style was eclectic. So you see, sometimes we use words that we're familiar with to try to define something that we like that we can't really explain what we like about it. So often we try to compact our style into 1 or 3 words that we're familiar with. But sometimes your style isn't defined in just 1, 2, or 3 words. It's actually defined by the repeated elements that continue to show up in the images you save over and over again. So how do you actually find your interior design style? As I hinted in the beginning of the video, the reality of finding your interior design style is that you don't actually have one. And what I mean by that is that you don't know what you like until you actually see it. Let me say that again.
Say it again.
You don't know what you like until you actually see it. And the way you actually define your design style, it's by recognizing the repeated patterns and textures and finishes that you instantly gravitate towards, and then using those elements to pull together a design style that resonates with you. Now, I'm not saying that using blank statement words like modern or eclectic or coastal can't help you find your style. This does give you a starting point, but being able to identify what you actually like about a photo is much more important. I'm going to be using my Pinterest account and showing you one of my Pinterest boards so that you guys can get an idea of how to actually use this method. First, you're going to recognize the main colors that show up in your inspirational curated photos. So for me, it was these deep, rich, brownish red warm tones. That was the first color that just seemed to pop up almost everywhere. This is going to become what I call the foundational hues. The foundational hues is the color that establishes the home's overall mood and appears on the largest surfaces. And then following that, you're going to have your layered hues. My layering hues are the deep teals. This is kind of like a secondary color. You can see it here. I love that kitchen. You can see it here in this tile, in this entryway. And so that was a color that I seem to gravitate towards. That's going to be what I call the layering hues. It's the color that reoccurs throughout the home to add richness, depth, and cohesion. And you'll even notice, guys, that sometimes whenever I film, I'm in my living room and my main colors are the rust color sofa and the teal sofa. I never realized how drawn to the rust brownish color I was until I started seeing it pop up over and over again. Then like my third color is going to be my warm camel and caramel browns. I call this the contrasting hue. It's a deep neutral used to define the forms and add visual weight and create balance. I have a faux barrel wood coffee table in my living room. Again, it goes with the color palette. And then my fourth accent colors, which show up in these greens and these kind of mustard yellow colors, which I call like the signature hues. The signature hues are going to be used intentionally in smaller doses to create personality in memorable moments, velvet chairs, drapery, artwork, decorative accessories. And that's exactly how they appear in my inspiration. The yellow and the greens are never really that dominant. As you can tell, the yellow is such a tiny part of the actual photo. Even in this photo, it only appears in a piece of artwork in the drapes. So now that I know what colors I like, I can actually build my color palette. These are the main colors that I'm attracted to. And then from there, I can pull my supporting neutral colors. The supporting neutrals are always going to show up as a white, a cream, a beige, a brown, or a black. You do have to add these neutrals in as you design, or your space is going to feel like a kid's playroom and it's not going to feel elevated or balanced at all. From this, I have now been able to pull together an entire color palette. Then it makes even pointing out furniture and lighting and the other elements within the design so much easier. As far as like the furniture goes, I seem to be really drawn to furniture with curves, which tells me that my style isn't really so much modern, because modern is more sharp edges. Trying to describe my own style as modern may not work for me because I clearly am not that attracted to sharp edges. Then you can even further break this down. You might say to yourself, okay, I'm looking for finishes. What finishes do I seem to be drawn to? What patterns do I seem to be drawn to? I seem to be drawn to like geometric patterns, that checkered kind of pattern. So I know that I'm drawn to that geometric shapes. I seem to save way more photos that have darker wood finishes than light finishes. And then lastly, to just further break this down even more, you can pull at least your top maybe 7 to 10 photos, and then put them on like a little design board. I use Microsoft PowerPoint. And then you can call out specifically, what do you like about each of these images? It helps you filter what you actually like about a photo rather than just saying, oh, I like this photo. With this, I've called out what I actually like about these photos. I like the wallpaper in this. I like that this kind of feels like a banquet kind of dining area. I think I said banquet kitchen. See how fast I put this together, guys? And then you can also do this with pointing out what you don't like about an image. Like, I don't like these chairs because I don't think they'd actually be really comfortable. I do not like this artwork. I don't like that. I don't know how you say it. Is it like chinoisery? I don't even know how to say it. So being able to pull a couple of images and then point out specifically what you like about a photo will really tell you more about how to find your style. Really being able to pinpoint the specifics will help save you the headache and the time and the stress of finding your design style. So that's why I always say you don't actually have a design style. You don't know what you like until you actually see it. If you guys found this video helpful and are interested in finding more design tips like this, make sure to subscribe because I'm always adding new content every week. Thanks so much. See you in the next one.